Hello ladies and gentlemen, YouTube Death Knight Paragon coming at you with a Blood Knight farm build. So without further ado, let's get down to it. Now this is like Endez's build where you only have to keep up on one skill. So the skills we'll want is Ravage. Then the skill that you'll have to keep up on is Shroud of Night, which has like about 10-second cooldown, but you only have to cast that every once in a while. Then we have Swarm of Bats, Umbral Lance, and Wave of Blood. Now Swarm of Bats, Umbral Lance, and Wave of Blood, once you proc Wave of Blood, Umbral Lance and Swarm of Bats will be passive, and same with Wave of Blood. So all you have to pretty much do is just run around and kill things and then keep up on Shroud of Night. So let's get to the essences. So for the shoulders, for Swarm of Bats, we have Taste of Copper. Then for the pants for Swarm of Bats, we have Bloody Waltz. Then for Umbral Lance essences, we have Stirred Depths for the main hand, and for an offhand, False Container. Then for Wave of Blood essences for a helmet, we have Drowned Chapter. Then for an offhand, we have Involuntary Transfusion. Then for Shroud of Night essences for the chest, we have Moon Wraith. Then for Ravage, the main hand, we have Exquisite Silence. The Paragon I'm using is the Vanquisher Tree, Treasure Find, Swift Learner, Gold Find, Greed, and then Boundless Strides. And then for the legendary skill, Overpowering Blow. Then for the greens, 4 Vithus, 4 Holgas. Then the legendary gems, Blood-Soaked Jade, Roiling Consequence, Colossus Engine, Blood Flow, Haunt Coil, Faded Trail, Leviathan Tome, and Hellbound Desire. So yeah, I thought I would share my version of the farm build. It's really nice to not have to really hit any buttons and just run around and kill stuff. See you guys in the next one.